DermBiz episode 16. In this episode, we interviewed Dr. German, aka Gary Treyger of Clair Dermatology in Chesterfield, Michigan. Dr. Treyger is just finishing his first year in medical practice. He shares all the details of what it was like in his first year of medical practice. He also shares a very interesting strategy on how to transition from being a full-time employee to being a private practice owner that will save a lot of money, time, and reduce the risk significantly. DermBiz episode 16, let's get started. All right, so welcome to DermBiz. We are excited for our guest today, Dr. German Treyger of Clair Dermatology. Dr. Gary Treyger specializes in medical, surgical, and cosmetic dermatology. He has expertise in treating a wide array of dermatologic conditions. Dr. Treyger takes pride in staying on top of the latest advancements in the field, employing state-of-the-art techniques to ensure his patients receive the most cutting-edge treatments available. We're going to have a great conversation. Welcome to DermBiz.
Hi, guys. Happy to be here.
Hi, Dr.
Happy to have you. And so today is your 1 year anniversary of Clair Dermatology. Talk to me about that.
I can't believe it. I mean, just a year ago, we barely had carpet in, we were barely, you could walk in the building and you could smell fresh paint. We had 7 patients on the schedule the first day.
Which is great.
It's great, but not the volume that I'm used to. So you start thinking, is this going to happen? So I'm proud to say that today, we've increased our census. We're treating more patients. We're fulfilling a need in the community, and that's what it's all about, right? So it's so rewarding. And watching the staff go from, I remember I hired this girl, Tara. Shout out to Tara. She's amazing. After day 1, after seeing 7 patients, I looked at her and say, we're going to get up to seeing way more on this day. We're going to get up to 30. She said, Dr. Treyger, I don't think we can do that. But now we're like a well-oiled machine, so we're getting there.
Okay.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Congratulations. That's
Congratulations.
amazing.
Yeah. So
and you're still smiling.
Which is big.
Got to laugh to keep from crying, right?
Exactly. What made you want to start your own practice and go through, the challenges of running a practice and having to laugh so you don't cry and all of the good stuff that happens of running and operating your own practice?
Tony, that is a great question. And sometimes I would ask myself, why am I doing this? Especially, 3 months into it, I'm like, why did I sign up for this headache? I was fine.
You're fine.
You're fine.
You're doing just fine.
But, as a type A person, as somebody that's always trying to better himself, trying to do something, I always had this desire to own my own practice because I feel like medicine is delivered best when there's less people involved, right? And owning your own practice, I'm able to deliver, I believe, the kind of medicine that I want to see in the world, right? This doctor-patient relationship I'm able to cultivate where I don't need to ask anyone else for permission, anyone else for help. I'm able to just navigate every patient experience and interaction independent of a third party telling me what to do. And advanced dermatology and cosmetic surgery has been great, and they don't tell me what to do. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I wanted more freedom. And it's from a big institution. I don't blame them. They can't give to me because then they have to pick and choose who they're giving these little freedoms to. So it was a great relationship. I was very happy. But on a personal level, I just didn't feel fulfilled unless I tried this on my own because I've always wanted to own my own business and work towards that. I'm an immigrant story, My parents came here from Russia. So it's like, I was like, I had to own my own business, right?
Wow. That's awesome.
That is
and what's interesting? I feel like the people that we've talked to, they have a similar story where the motivation is never money. The motivation is always it's almost like they have a philosophy that they want to live out.
Yeah.
They have a belief system that's in their head on how things should be, and they want to make it a reality, and they're willing to jump through all of the hoops, potentially even make less money to be able to operate in a way that they believe that the world should be.
I mean, a lot of times I tell you do make less money in a
I
way.
was just gonna say when you said may make less money, I'm like, for sure. There's
You
for
do.
sure, for sure. Like you just have to sign up for that. You're like, I'm cool with less money. Like, sign.
No, it's true. I think most people don't realize that you do end up making less. But for me, I remember when we started, I always felt like if I didn't do it, I would regret it.
Right.
And I didn't want to have any, like, it was something I was like, if I failed, at least I tried. I can go and get another job. But if I don't try, it would haunt me for the rest of my life.
And that's why when I decided to do it, I said to myself, why? But it was exactly what you said. It would haunt me if I hadn't tried.
Yeah.
I needed to know what I could do. And now that I'm sitting a year later, I'm so happy I did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rewarding. I mean, it's hard. I'm happy this show exists, because I want other people to feel empowered to do it.
Absolutely.
This conversation can spark someone else to go out there and do it because, like you said, it's bringing that philosophy to medicine to the world.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something you guys have in common, both immigrants.
Yeah.
That
It's
immigrant
in your
story.
blood. It's like, what do you have to lose? I mean, it's like
I've seen every socioeconomic ladder. I mean, whatever.
yeah. I mean, maybe some hairs, more gray hairs. I've got more gray hairs over the time.
It's funny that you say that because I have actually appreciated a lot more gray hairs, but that's okay.
Maybe a little bit of your sanity, but it comes and goes.
Comes and goes. Talk to me about, because just reading a little bit of your bio and the answers you gave us, talk to me about the hybrid situation that you've been able to create, where you have your own practice, but then you kind of, work a little bit with your former employer.
Sure.
Talk to me about that, because I've never heard that before.
I think for a lot of people starting their own practice, that sounds like a great, perfect situation too. You can build up your practice, but a lot of employers don't let you do that when you tell them you're leaving their practice.
Right. So I think it's a couple of things with that. I think number one, I think it takes courage to ask for what you want, right? I think, some people are like, well, they'll say no. And so some people don't even ask the question. So I gathered my strength together and I asked them politely, hey, Metro Detroit's very large. And the clinic that I work at with my former employer is 50 miles away from my office. So there's no there's no competition between us. So there's that. Plus, I was fortunate enough to have such a great relationship with my former employer, and they're a private equity company, but they're good to me. And I asked them, like, hey, I have a great patient following in my office that I work with them at, and it's far away. It's out of my non-compete, and I believe there's a situation where it's probably easier to keep someone like me than to fill that spot again and having turnover with physicians. So I really was able to do a hybrid model where I stayed on at that office that's very far away. I'm there 2 days a week, and I'm at my practice 3 days a week, which has been great because it's a slow ramp up, right? Because when you open the doors, you might not be needed 5 days of the week, right? And coming in for 7 patients, I would do it. But, if every day, 5 days a week, I'm coming in for 7 patients, it becomes a little daunting. So I think, my advice to anybody thinking about doing it is have the courage to ask the question. The worst thing you can say is no, and then you're left with a decision to make, and some of my friends that have opened practice in the past have done locums. So that's another option for somebody looking to grow their practice while still having a revenue stream for their family.
Okay. So who's in your practice the other days of the week? Do you have staff taking phone calls? How do you manage that schedule with other employees?
That's a great question. Most people that don't know dermatology are like, how do you have any full-time employees? What's the point? And that's missing the whole point, because actually those days are very busy for my staff. I like to do some complex med derm. I write biologics. So, that's a prior auth day. That's a day we're calling insurance companies. I just started doing buy and bill in the office, which maybe we could talk about, but started doing buy and bill in the office for injectables. And so, we got to make sure that things are approved. We got to make sure patients are scheduled. Also, I believe in great service to my patients. And so that means we call everybody back. You had a question. Oh, how do I use this ointment? Call them back. So I have my manager doing that. My manager's going over remittances. We are making sure that days that I'm here, we're focused on that patient in the room, and days that I'm not here on the back end, we're able to provide an amazing customer service experience.
Absolutely. So, what made you? Because it seems like you had a great relationship with your former employer. But who? I mean, I guess your current employer.
Yes,
Who is that? Who is that current employer?
Can you give him a shout out?
shout out to Advanced Dermatology and Cosmetic Surgery.
Advanced.
There it is. They've been great.
Yeah.
I almost feel so blessed to be working for this hybrid model. I don't want to jinx it, you know?
Yeah, I have. I mean, like I said, when I read that, I'm like, I have never heard of this. This is genius.
Yeah.
The ability to kind of you take care of your downside,
Yeah.
while still being able to pursue, the dream of starting your own practice. But I guess the question I have for you is, during the process of starting your own practice, what was the biggest challenge to get started? Was it staffing? Was it finding the location? Was it a build out? Was it financing the project? Was it trying to find time? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of walk us through how you kind of went through the steps to start your own practice.
I would say somebody just asked me this, and looking back on it, I have the same answer that I did when I was asked this question by a colleague recently. I said the hardest part was actually probably deciding to do it. Like the initial decision, the contemplation that went into, am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? And then once you do that, I think the challenges become more like everything you just mentioned. For some people, financing, I decided to lease because I wanted to, again, decrease risk. So I found a space with a minimal build out need. And so once I found that, I would say that was really stressful, finding a location that exists that can fit your needs. And fortunate again, I was able to find something that basically fit my needs. I just needed a little cosmetic work that I was able to self-finance. So I didn't have to.
That's great.
Right. And I didn't have to go out and get any money for that. And then the biggest challenge, I think, of running my own practice that is from day one to now to keep moving forward is finding good people and investing in good people. And I think like ultimately that's the biggest challenge of being a business owner and being a practice owner, because you need good people. Like I can practice amazing dermatology. If my front staff girl was rude to that patient, Google, Dr. Treyger was nice, 1 star, front staff was a beep, beep, beep. And you're like, man, I fixed you. Like, does that even count?
Yep.
Yeah. But it's it. People don't remember what you did for them. It's how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
So
it's funny because that's a motto that I always, when we do, so something that we do to cultivate that is we try to create a culture. And I think that's really hard. And that's something I believe in, is creating a culture within the office. And me and my office manager, we align on what that vision is. And that's patient-centered care. And our big philosophy is experience the difference. Because I truly believe it's not.
I like that.
Yeah. It's not what you did. It's how they felt when they left.
Absolutely.
And just today we had patients leaving saying, I felt like I was with family. It felt amazing. Is it always like this? And I'm not even making this up. They said that. And I was like, my dream? It's coming in reality? Like,
that's awesome.
It's me.
Right. You're living your dream. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
And how did you find that great, amazing office manager?
That's what I was about to ask.
I feel just blessed. I don't know. Like I'm very blessed because I'd worked with her in the past. She was in medicine. She had actually left dermatology, was a practice manager somewhere else, had left due to, I don't even know why. She was working in a different sector, and I just knew how great she was. So I called her up and I sold her on the vision, on the dream, on experience the difference, on what I believe we can do with medicine, with dermatology, with healthcare. And it resonated with her, and she's been amazing. And I think I see us growing in a way together that's just going to be wonderful.
What responsibilities does she have? Does she do your hiring, payroll, all of that? Or what responsibilities does she take on for you?
She does my hiring, my payroll. She helps me with everything day to day. She even though we keep trying to distance ourselves from this, but she even jumps in as my medical assistant at times.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, we got to get you back to, managing, because remittances, she's very big on insurances. She tracks down all the remittances, all the denials. I mean, as owners, that sometimes things are denied that I don't understand why this is denied, and neither do you. So please
Right.
Explain this to me.
Right.
So she spends a lot of time tracking that down. She hires, she helps create that culture because she's always smiling, she's always kind, she's always working hard. And so it's contagious. Just like I'm sure you guys have had this in your office. One bad apple ruins the bunch. One bad attitude, the whole day could be ruined, so.
Have you had a bad apple? And if so, how did you protect the bunch?
Well, we do not currently, knock on wood, have a bad apple. It will happen. Our first hire actually must have been a bad apple because day 3 she just didn't show up. So
Wow.
yeah, but
Surprise.
yeah, I think I've been in situations with a bad apple, and in my opinion, the best way to protect everybody from it and yourself is not allowing that person to have control of the situation, of the emotional vibe of the room. They cannot hide. They can be in a bad mood. They can be sour, but I overcome it with positivity. I will outshine that negativity any day. I am going to keep smiling. I'll double down, and I'm not afraid of that person. So I'm just going to keep on talking to them. And eventually they'll either break down or they're going to quit because they're like, that's just too annoying of a person to work with.
Yeah.
Best strategy.
Yeah.
So what does your office staff consist? Like, how many MAs do you have?
So I have everybody. Something that I'm very proud of, my office manager and I talked about this before we launched, is everybody is cross-trained. That's something that I truly believe in. My front desk, my front desk can be my medical assistant. My medical assistant can be my front desk. Everyone can schedule a patient. Now, not everyone could do lab calls. I feel like that's more an advanced medical assistant job, right? Outside of that, everybody's cross-trained. So I have 2 full-time MAs and 2 part-time front desk girls, and we're adding on another one. And Jen, she just jumps in too much as my medical assistant, unfortunately. But that's why we're adding on more people. And Jen jumps in because, she wants everyone to have an amazing experience. She wants to deliver on that experience. And, now we're getting to the point where she's taking more of a seat back and going back into her office because the girls that we hired are now, they've caught on to what we're doing. They know what we want now, but that took time,
Talk to me about, how did you actually find these individual people? I know you already knew the office manager, but were you using Indeed? Were you using Monster? How did you actually find the other staff members?
Totally Indeed, and totally just interviewing, just meeting someone and asking questions about them. I truly believe in this motto is, when someone tells you who they are, believe them. If you showed up to the interview late, I'm going to believe you. I don't care what happened.
Right.
I don't care. But, unless there was a physical accident outside of my office, which one time did happen, I did believe that. I was like, that is out of their control. But it's all about how they react to that, right? Like, you showed up flustered, upset that she was late. Okay, that tells me a lot. You didn't want to be late. There was an extenuating circumstance. So, okay, you're not a person that comes in late. Then, kind of going from there, like, tell me about your other employee. If somebody's got a list this long of former employers, I'm like, well, it can't be everyone else's fault that you couldn't keep a job. Not to be rude, but like, at some point we got to look in the mirror and be like, are you the bad apple? And with that, we have actually kind of, outside of one of our girls, exclusively hired green young medical assistants. And that is intentional because we want to cultivate a culture and we want to do it with somebody green. I don't want to break bad habits. I don't want somebody I want them to be green and hungry. And the fact that we're such a young practice, I feel like we entice young talent with the fact that, like, I can grow with Dr. Treyger and, like, I can be close with him. And maybe, this is my first office. What if there's more? What if there's an opportunity for me to be a lead front desk girl? What if there's an office manager opportunity? What if my current office manager decides she wants, to be a biller now in my office? And it's like, I need an office manager, so I think, like, the idea that, like, that's kind of, during the interview, we talk like that. And I'm very clear with them of what I expect. I'm like, I expect you to do a lot of things. You're going to be front desk. You're going to do this. We have a cleaning chart at the end of the day, and I like to see how they respond to that. It tells me a lot. It's like, are you willing to say yes to these things? I'm going to be transparent with you. This is what's expected of you. you're going to be put in uncomfortable situations. Are you okay with that? And I mean uncomfortable situations as in, a growth experience. Like, when you're a medical assistant that's never been one before, it can be scary in a room with a doctor and a patient, and he's like, can you do a Ken 40 shot? It's like, what do I do?
What language are you even speaking?
Yeah, what language are you speaking? So that's something that I find is difficult for some providers, because I have to be very patient and very kind and very understanding. And when you're running a busy clinic day and someone asks you something that you've in your blood what the answer is, but like they've never spoken the language. You just answer with kindness and you move on. I quietly go home and get frustrated. I can't.
Can you talk about how you built up your practice? Like what, was it just word of mouth? Did you do any marketing? Just patients kind of heard about you? Was it in an area that you live in?
So it's not an area that I live in. It's about a 40-minute drive. And I saw a need here. There's a lot of residential going up in the area. A lot of rooftops coming up, a lot of construction moving in, busy street. I'm driving around and there's only one dermatologist around, and I saw a need. But really, I've been doing part of my experience the difference, and I believe in this, is we are insinuating ourselves in the local community. We are doing community outreach. I talk at a senior, a Macomb senior facility. I go and give them a talk. Kroger. I'm on the little seats at Kroger, where the kids sit.
Oh yeah.
I sponsor a local baseball team. I'm insinuating myself in the community to a way that, like, when somebody says, "Where do you go?" when they call, our biggest referral source is Google. But it's only because I think that's all people can say. So I don't know if those other marketing techniques are working, but I believe they are. I think word of mouth is the most important thing. And a positive patient experience and insinuating yourself in the community, especially in a smaller community where I'm at, it means everything, So I would say that's how I've been building it up, is just through word of mouth. And luckily, one of my patients really liked me and posted about me on her mom's Facebook group in our local community. And that's everything.
Dr. Treyger, I love your energy and your philosophy. I feel like we relate in so many different ways. Your approach to patient care, your approach to handling bad apples in the team, your thought process of cross training, and a lot of the things that you're saying. It took us years to learn, and you're doing this in your first year. My question to you is, where are you learning a lot of this stuff? Like, did you have prior business experience? Do you have anybody who's you're getting mentored from? Do you read a lot? Like, how are you learning a lot of these things so quickly in year one?
Well, I've worked in practices before, and I've always wanted to own my own practice. So I would say, I was out for 4 years working with my current employer, ADCS, and like just eyes open, observing, looking at inefficiencies. Like, especially when you're first year out, you're just sitting there sometimes, and I'm looking around. I'm like, well, the front staff's literally not doing anything right now. The back is slammed. The back is complaining there's not enough people. And, I don't have the power to tell the front, you should be helping. If I do, it's just going to cause problems because, well, that's not my job, And that's an expression that I hate. That's not my job. I hate that expression. I'll clean the floors right now. I don't care. I don't care if I'm the business owner or the doctor.
She's cleaning toilets. So
I remember one time a patient just messed up the bathroom, and I'm like, it's no one's job. We got to clean this up. So I just get in there. They were all so shocked that I'm like cleaning the bathroom in the middle of the clinic day, but we got to keep it going, And when they see me doing it, there's no excuse for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I empty trash. I'm mopping. We're doing this together. And now, when I ask them to clean, there's no question. Everyone cleans.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's lead by example. That's something that, we picked up on. And then my office manager, again, she's opened up a practice before. So, kind of like she's kind of been guiding me. I've had my own ideas, and she's sometimes like, Dr. Treyger, that's a good idea, but how about this? And I'll be like, I like that too.
No, I was saying, so you don't do molds. Do you do cosmetics?
So I do some cosmetics. I do a lot of Gen Derm. I do a little bit of complex Gen Derm. I do regular Gen Derm. I do Botox. I do some filler. You know, I do surgeries as well on the neck down. Skin cancers, cysts. I'll do everything. I feel very comfortable with all that. In fact, I love procedures. I just never loved Mohs that much enough to do it. Uh, I don't. I hate when there's too much of a bleeder. Just like But so that's kind of something that I'm learning is, as I grow the business, I need to find people that fill my gaps, right? Like, I need to find a Mo surgeon to partner with. I think, find somebody to bring in for that, or at least come into the office maybe on a contractual 1099 basis, bring them in 1 day a week where they can do Mo's, because ultimately experience the difference. What is that? That's providing all of the services in my office.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you going elsewhere, so
Mm-hmm.
it's about that. So, that's on the horizon. That's to be determined, right? But part of the current model is I'm able to slowly see what the business needs and adapt to it. And I'm not forcing anything,
Absolutely.
I'm going with the river. I'm here,
Yeah. Do you guys sell products?
We do. Partnered with Topics on that. Yeah. GT Dermatology. That's the right here. GT Dermatology part of it right
Okay.
there. That's another thing. Part of Experience the Difference is I never want a patient to walk out and feel sold.
Mm.
I never want them to think he just wanted to sell his
Mm.
products. I'll give you a list of options. I'll tell you mine is better. I also I'm not charging at the max profit margin that I can on this.
Right.
It's not about that. It's about offering them a better product for a good price. Because right now, you could go to CVS, Walgreens, and spend on that over the counter brand. You're going to walk out with hundreds of dollars worth of products.
Mm-hmm.
So I got stuff here that I only carry products that I trust, believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stick to that model. And that way I'm not really selling. I'm trying to instead meet a need. I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm meeting a need that you have. And unfortunately, a lot of people feel burned. So whenever you bring up your own products, I am running into that problem where they feel like as soon as I feel a little hesitation on them, I'm like, oh, we're done. I'm out. I'm not going to talk about it again. But like, I got some people that are like, yes, I want that. Give me more. Give me 4 of those, 2 of those here every day. And for them, I'm so happy because I'm able to offer them a service and a product that they like. And it's also beneficial to the practice as well. It's just a little cherry on top.
Let's talk about the technology you're using. What EMR are you using? Like what cool apps, what software? What do you feel like is foundational to your day-to-day work?
Modernizing medicine, Emma. I mean, I hear a lot of derms complaining about it. I know, but from a front desk perspective, their practice management software, they've got a financials tool in there that's really great now. I don't know, what do you guys use? Easy Derm, right? And that was the big decision when I opened up the practice. That was the big one. They have been amazing to work with. Now, I am in year 1, so I hear there will be some growing pains and I will be asked to, somehow pay more or something's supposed to happen that I'm supposed to get mad at Easy Derm. So my other colleagues have told me like, wait, you're still early in it. You're in the honeymoon phase. But so far, Emma's been good to me. It's been user friendly. Staff's been able to pick up on it really well, especially with scheduling and stuff. We have new people start all the time, and they're able to just jump in and schedule patients because of how easy it is to use. And their practice management tool has been great. So, I mean, Outlook. I mean, we did Google. When I opened the practice, I did Google Phones because for credentialing that was a hurdle. I mean, if anyone's starting a new practice, that is your number one objective is to get credentialed on insurance.
Absolutely.
To do that, I needed an address and you needed a phone and a fax. So once I got that going, and I went through Google, and I was reading a lot from a lot of derms on, shout out to the Derm Startup Group on Facebook. They were a great resource for me. But everyone was saying to do Google, and I did Google at first, and Google was great. But we switched to Outlook because of the IT company and my office manager both came to me and said, listen, this is a list of reasons why we like Outlook more than we like Google. And one of those was security reasons. And Outlook has been a wonderful resource for us. Very secure and works really well with our secure networks. But outside of that, I really don't use any apps. I'm old school. Like to communicate, from the front to the back of the office. I'm looking at walkie-talkies. We're looking at. I got a little thing that it's a call button that they use at like nursing homes. Like if somebody were to fall, so I'm in the back right now, and they're here. And if there's a chart up, they'll hit the button, and it's a chime that goes off. We're just keeping it simple here. I mean, walkie-talkies.
I love that.
I love it.
We're not securing anything on the walkie-talkie, but no secure information. But it's more so like chart up, something like that. But we also have a small space. So what apps do you guys use? I'd love to learn more about your app. I'm 1 year in. Maybe I need an app.
I mean, one of our big apps that we use, probably the biggest app that we use outside of EasyDerm is an app called 8x8. And that's our...
Oh, you use 8x8.
Yeah, you use 8x8.
Yeah, for our voice internet provider.
Yeah,
right?
So that's, I mean, we do a lot of things because we have 4 virtual team members that we work with who live in the Philippines.
Through LOH.
Right, and we haven't done that, and I'd love to, maybe an offline or something, call me. I'd love to know how that goes for you guys.
It's fantastic. I mean, when you talk about intelligence, like you show them how to do something, you teach them how to do it, they got it.
Yeah, they're doing our benign paths. They do our incoming calls.
All incoming calls.
They're working on our PAs, prior authorization, so our staff doesn't have to spend so much time doing that. We have one right now that only works on rejected and denied claims with our billing company. She just takes on that part of it.
Yep.
One of them, we have, they just pick up the calls, the nursing line, if the nurses are in the rooms and no one is there. So they pick up the nursing line. So at least when a patient calls, they're talking to someone in the back.
Somebody's always answering the phone.
And if they can answer it, they will. And if they can, they will take a message. And then, so we it took a while to figure out how to use it. We were worried, like with patients, we were worried that they're not here here, or they have an accent or whatever. But it's worked great for
inventory.
us.
They help us, the online, our online shopping cart, our online website, they make sure the inventory is matched. I mean, they do a lot. So 8x8 is probably the glue from a communication standpoint because there's a text messaging aspect with 8x8. So, if we need the message, the virtual team will use that. And then 8x8 is HIPAA compliant. So sometimes when I need to message a patient text-wise, I'll do it via 8x8.
Now, do you guys, another thing I wanted to ask, we're looking at getting a phone for the practice. Do you guys have that?
We did initially, but now we just do everything through 8x8.
I mean, because you got to get internet, they kind of make you get a phone, but it doesn't ring. We don't have a phone for the phone line that we're paying for. We just have internet and 8x8. And also, too, we have 5 different clinics. So when the phone rings, it rings at all of the locations. So we don't have a set. We're in our home office right now, but we have 4 different satellite offices that we go to.
Now, when I say phone, I mean like, I don't want patients having my office manager's number, my number, but, sometimes a text message of a bruise after surgery comes through and it's like, text me that picture. I don't respond to the text. I'll set up a call. But in general, that's the cell phone that my office manager was asking.
We do emails. So we have a nurses at email or physician's email that they can have. So they can email and send pictures through that. That's secure.
But even the sending and receiving pictures, we use that through 8x8. So if I'm going to text a patient, or if I'm asking a patient, we missed to get the picture of their insurance card, or they're saying that they want to send us something that looks yucky or something. Everybody has their own phone line. So everybody in the clinic has their own direct number that a patient could text via 8x8, and it will be HIPAA.
So 8x8 is like a different number on their phone?
It's on their regular phone, but it's an app. It's a different phone number.
So everyone
it's like Doximity. Doximity does that.
Yes.
And we use Doximity too. That's our fax. We use Doximity for faxes.
So we do not use Doximity for faxes.
And it was so important for us because we're in so many different places. Locations. So we don't want a fax to go to one place.
Where do we use our fax? We use 8x8 for faxing. She knows.
Okay.
She's hearing me. She's yelling. She's like, we use it for faxing.
We used Doximity before we knew about 8x8. Doximity was when we first got started. and it's free. So we're like, oh, this is great. A free fax machine, a free fax number.
So basically, you're saying with my 8x, is this a great opportunity? Sorry for the listeners, I'm learning here. I can have, since I have 8x8, I should just do the app, and then I could use that for HIPAA compliant communications with my patients.
Absolutely.
And even your staff, they'll just have to download the app on their phone.
Just gotta download
they're
on their
always
phone.
on their phone anyway. So,
Right.
So yeah, when you need to call a patient back, you don't have to call from your personal number. You go on your 8x8 app, and then you call them, and then it shows up as your clinic phone number.
Yeah.
Now, does 8x8 charge you per app per person?
Per every new line.
Every line, yeah.
So as you, I think it's like
a new line.
Yeah. So every new person that gets a phone line, it's an extra charge.
Well, like right here, I have this phone. This phone is through 8x8. It's just a standard phone, but it's through 8x8.
Oh, okay.
You guys don't have like classic phones?
No.
We do it all through our cell phone.
We don't.
Everybody's cell phone.
We'll have one of those phones in our clinic. No, you couldn't find a phone like that in here.
We don't have one.
I got this. It's a nice phone.
Yeah.
Don't know how to use it. You can press hold, they say, and call people. I don't know.
Yeah, so like if you're walking in down the hallway and the phone rings and you have your cell phone, you can pick it up. If you're anywhere.
You can schedule a patient from your cell phone, technically.
Every single patient has been scheduled from our cell phone or another of our team members' cell phone.
That is,
we have never scheduled a patient from a regular landline phone ever in 6 years.
Do you guys have an IT service?
No.
No, we just kind of use companies in town if we need something.
If we need something, yeah.
But not.
Yeah, I pay monthly. I pay them monthly for they maintain my servers. They do all this. Now that's something that like I don't pay too much, but I don't love the idea of a monthly IT bill.
Yeah.
But I will say, and my office manager is the one that's convincing me to keep it, so I will keep it, because ultimately something that I can't happen is things to go down.
Yeah.
And I lose that day in clinic.
So are they like ready on the spot? Like if something happens, you can call them?
Yep. They hop on, they instantly boom, boom, boom. This is your problem. They set up every computer. They do everything.
That's awesome.
I want to say $500 a month or something.
Okay.
So it's not ideal, but it's not, it's something that like I'm happy I have, because I've had a couple instances where I needed them. Mm-hmm. Like, why isn't this working? We just quickly call and we're getting it done, we're getting it fixed. Versus, yeah, I could probably figure it out, but that's going to be 3 hours later.
Right.
And it's going to be, I'm like, you got to hit the computer twice and it'll work, okay?
Turn it off and start.
Turn it off, turn it on.
We did have a company we used, but then after about a year or two, the people that set up our website, we stopped and we just call as needed.
Oh, you mean like the wires and everything?
906. No, we started with 906. They used to be our server, kept up our servers for a bit. Yeah. We don't use
Do you guys do patient? Do you guys have another thing that I'm looking at is a separate protections? Around my area in Metro Detroit, a lot of hospitals have been hacked.
Yeah.
Same here. Same.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the big thing with Change Healthcare.
Yeah, Change Health. I don't know if you were using.
Right, but Change Healthcare. I mean, that was terrible.
We were affected by it because Easy Derm goes through.
Correct. That's your clearinghouse.
Clearinghouse. So for 4 or 5 months.
Well, about 2 months.
But then the delay. It was.
Yeah,
rough.
it was rough.
It was rough.
We didn't get insurance payments for about 2 months. And then it was probably 4 or 5 months before everything completely resolved itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something, I mean, but these institutional large hacks, I mean, how do we, small practices, I keep trying to think, how do we protect ourselves and insulate ourselves from this? And I don't think we really can, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think one thing that we got to keep in mind as practice owners is we are prey for a lot of people who have stuff to sell us, and they prey on that fear. You don't know how many insurance people I've had come to me and say, "Oh, you need to buy this insurance because this is going to happen." They got the cybersecurity insurance, and then they got this insurance and that insurance. So I almost feel sometimes that saying yes to everybody too much is more dangerous than saying no and going it without the services that they tell you they need to do, because somebody always has something to sell you.
They don't tell you about that when you open up your practice. Everyone has their hands out somehow. Like, oh, you need this, you need that. Oh, did you get that? Oh, you know what? It's not that much. It's an extra 100 a month. You need it. You need it. What? I don't think I need that. You know?
Something for the viewers out there. It's like they look at you when you start your practice like just an open checkbook. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Our signs, right? So we went with the local sign company and they made our sign and they put it on the wall and it looks great. And then we realized, oh, you have to have these like the ADA compliant signs, and the people at the sign company explained to us that we need to get this and it's going to cost thousands of dollars. And then we went online and we found like a Etsy, like a cheap version, same sign. We stuck it on the wall. It got the job done just as easily as if we would have went with the sign company, but for like a tenth of the price. And that was when we first opened our space, and it made me realize it's probably so many things that are going to fall under that realm where people are going to have this super expensive solution, and if we just kind of think through it, we can find a lot cheaper way to do it.
So, for example, opening up my practice, you go to McKesson to get a surgical tray, hundreds of dollars. You go on Amazon, is that a $25 surgical tray that looks better?
Same thing.
And you're like,
yeah.
And what is this okay? Like, literally, they're just preying on us at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
I didn't realize that we could replace our McKesson. We got to talk to them. We got to see.
No, some things you still need McKesson for.
Yeah.
Right?
No, we need McKesson for a lot of things. But I'm saying, like, you know, some people order their office chairs. Like, I'm sitting on just a regular chair here that I was able to find online. Yeah. This doesn't need to be a medical grade chair. Right. I'm just sitting on a chair. Meanwhile, you know, when I first opened my practice, if I listened to the McKesson reps and everything, they would have sold me this expensive stool for me to sit on that is the same stool or can be easily replaced on Amazon, you know, for a cheaper price. So it's like, there's a lot of things. Like I bought, did you guys buy refurbished chairs, stool, what, McKesson, the
exam table?
What am I talking? Exam tables, chairs.
So we actually got lucky because I also had a practice in Chicago suburbs. So I was going back and forth between Chicago and Michigan, and I rented it from an internal medicine doc who had another office next door. So she left me all her exam tables to use while we were leasing from them. And when we were leaving, they were like, we don't have anywhere to put this exam table, so give me an offer. So we got 4 or 5 exam tables for $500. And I know, like, she's like, they didn't have anywhere to put it, and they wanted to lease it to a sleep office,
like a sleep lab or something.
Sleep lab. So she's like, we can't. We need to get rid of these exam tables, and it's just it's great. I use them for my Mohs surgery. So we got lucky. So I got 4 that way. $500 for 4 tables. We had to.
That's amazing.
They're older tables,
and then
you could get them resurfaced. You could do whatever. It doesn't.
They're great. And then we use some of those cosmetic chairs that you can get for $2,000. I think you can see them. You know, those cosmetic spa.
Exactly. You're talking about. They look really nice.
Yeah, and patients love them. So I have a mixture of that. So I didn't spend $15,000 or $10,000 and whatever blah 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 table that goes up and down, goes this way, goes that way, you know.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's like really expensive. And then another thing that, you know, for new practice owners, you know, if you don't have to do, like, yes, if you're doing your permanent building and you want to spend on nice cabinets, but you don't have to go with McKesson for your cabinets. Yes. You know, there are other local like in your local community, there is somebody that makes cabinets, and you just put a medical grade, you know, product on it. It's the same one. Nobody invented new plastic at McKesson. Right. Not talking about McKesson, by the way. Anyone at McKesson, love you guys.
We love you, McKesson. Give us a
price, shout out. Yeah, but like, you know, you don't need to go with the high. I feel like some of my counterparts opening practices, they look at it, it's just going to be so expensive, but they're buying all of these expensive things. And I'm like, what do you need to run a derm office? You know, like a hyfricator? Like if you're doing gen derm, I don't need, you know, even some of the tools that the Mohs surgeon needs, right? I mean, do you guys have a computer like this? I mean, do you guys have one of those?
No.
We have.
You guys have a dual screen desktop.
Here's the thing to keep in mind, Dr. Treyger. We traveled. We were on the road. We didn't have a set location for 4 years. For 4 years,
we were on the road.
So we had to learn.
We didn't have a home clinic.
We didn't have a home clinic. We contracted with 4 different hospitals.
So the way we started was different. So I started with private equity for 4 years, and I decided to stay in the same town as the private equity. So I had a restrictive covenant. So in order to make myself marketable, I traveled to the patients. So, and I rented space from different hospitals that were just glad to have a dermatologist. And I just paid a rental fee every month. And I went to 4 different places, sometimes an hour away. So we had to be mobile. There was no computer there. Everything was done.
So Monday we would go to one place. Tuesday we would go to another place. Wednesday we would go to another place. So we had all of these different places. And so we had to have phones that were mobile with us. So we started off mobile. Like our nurses, they can pack up.
We can see any patient in any parking lot and do everything from head to toe.
Pack up and be in there and be out of there. Like
we used to be like little army ninjas of dermatology.
Woo! Let's go.
The nurses come in with their roller bags and they got their gauze and their syringes.
We were nuts. I mean, don't do what we did.
That's funny. Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I just think like this conversation, anybody listening, the real takeaway point is there's a lot of ways to do this.
Absolutely.
Find your way.
Absolutely.
And luckily we live in a technological world where all of it's possible. Like I have an analog phone, but I use voice internet. I use 8x8. And I just found out, about this other service I could get with 8x8 while I keep my phone, and everybody could have a work phone on their personal phone, because who wants to walk around with 2 phones?
Exactly.
Yeah. And you refine it as you go. Like the way we started, we have MacBooks. We usually use laptops is what we use. So we don't have the big screen. The front desk does have a laptop that they work with, but you can close that up, pack it up, go to the next clinic, keep going. So that's kind of our format. We all have iPads with EasyDerm. We use iPads. So everyone has an iPad they travel with. And we do have 1 or 2 phones, like cell phone that's only the clinic, but everyone likes to use their own cell phone.
Yeah.
So we just let them. It's easier for them to just not carry 2 phones.
Right. That makes total sense. I love it. I think it just speaks to the multiple ways to do it. And, you seem like you were doing Mo's, right? Mo's gaining referrals. And so that's another, model where, the gender model could be more, stationary at times, but also because I left the area that I was practicing in, that's another difference. And so this all speaks to how agile you can be when starting a practice, and there's so many ways to do it. That's very cool.
And you have to be agile. You have to be flexible. You have to just deal with it as it comes. I mean, it was like, I'm sure for you, the first few days you started, you're like, oh crap, I didn't get that. Oh crap, I forgot I needed that. Oh my God, like you don't realize what you need until you start. And just be agile, be flexible, be nimble.
Yep.
And,
right. And the thing is, now I'm at the phase where next thing is growth. And that's another hurdle. That's going to be a whole nother discussion where it's like, don't be afraid of that growth. You have to expand. You have to spend money in situations to make more money. You have to invest in yourself. And that's something that,
that'll be another conversation.
Yeah.
Conversation, right?
This will be an ongoing conversation, Dr. Treyger. If you got any questions,
you have to start spending money to market. Then marketing really becomes important. Like,
because we had a situation where we like grow, and then we grew, and then we're like, okay, reduce. Because there is a such thing as growing too fast. We'll just say that.
Yes, 100%. There is a thing, and you can't handle the load and everything. You don't have enough staff. Your staff is,
or you got too much staff. Or you got too much staff.
Woo! I don't want that problem.
Yeah. What I love about your story, Dr. Treyger, is how you got started. You got started not taking a big, huge financial investment. You kind of got started. You eased in. You lowered your downside. I mean, I've never heard of anybody starting the way you did. It's very, very smart the way you did it. What advice would you have for somebody who is maybe currently working for someone else, or maybe they're, just finishing up their training and they want to start their own medical practice? What advice would you give them as they're making that decision and getting started?
I would say, ask your current employer if it's okay for you to branch out. Just make sure that when you ask that question, you're not asking because you're opening up 5 miles down the road. You can't be in direct competition. That's not even a fair question. So, at the end of the day, I think, just having the courage to ask the question, and then moving forward, making decisions that makes sense for you, that you're comfortable with, and not following the trend. I feel like something that you mentioned was very tempting in the beginning, is to say yes to everything. Like, oh, we should build a building. Oh my God, I should build a building. The bank will give you money. You know that?
Right.
Yeah, the bank would give me money. It's like, well, I got to pay them back. Okay, that's different.
Yeah. Even lasers, even cosmetic. You need all lasers, all this lasers. You need this, you need that, but you don't.
Funny. That's so funny that you say that, because that's something I wanted so bad as a laser when I got out. And then I started shopping around for lasers, and I was like, that's not in the budget. So instead, I got back into the textbook and was like, what can I do? And then I rediscovered cosmetic peels.
Yeah.
And was like, these are amazing. And the overhead is so much lower. And, the margins are better, and the patients are satisfied. Like, you're taking a laser to my face. Like, that sounds like a commitment, and this whole thing. Oh, a peel? Everyone's heard of a peel,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
We started doing chemical peels and stuff, and I'm just like, why did I ever think about it? Because at the end of the day, the skin is the skin. You want to create damage. You want to induce collagen production. Like, at the end of the day, everyone wants to complicate things, but, there's probably a simple solution. So I would say just, for anyone looking to start a practice, like, find a way to make it work for you in a way that's palatable for you. For me, it wasn't palatable to just jump in right away. I just felt, I needed that little bit of financial stability with the family and everything. So just ask the question and let the chips fall as they may.
Yeah. This has been a great conversation, Dr. Treyger. We're
have to do a part 2.
We're gonna have to do a part 2. We're gonna have to talk some more. Maybe we'll do another one on your 2nd year anniversary. Maybe this will be a theme. Every anniversary, we'll have a conversation. But seriously, in the meantime, if you got questions, if there's anything that we can do, we're an open book. Yeah. We love what you're doing. Let me just say this. You are definitely ahead of us. 1 year in, with some of the things that you're doing, your approach to keep expenses low, your approach to managing your team, you are doing a phenomenal job.
Great job.
Yes.
Appreciate it. It's good to hear that.
And your ability to think outside of the box. I think if there's one thing to take away from everything that we've been talking about, I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is feeling like they have to do it the way everybody does it, and buy the expensive laser and do the expensive build out and all of that kind of stuff. And so you're a perfect example that you can succeed going against the grain. So thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. And I will probably be reaching out to you guys for some advice.
We've done everything in the most craziest way. I mean, you've heard some of them.
I'm interested.
We messed up a lot of stuff, and we're willing to share our mistakes so you don't have to go through what we went through. What other specific topics related to the business of private practice management would you like for us to cover? Please share in the comments below or reach out to us on social media or our email address, thedermbiz@gmail.com. Our mission is to create a movement of collaboration and support amongst physician-owned private practice owners. If you would like to join that movement, again, don't forget to like, share, comment, and please don't forget to subscribe.